Greetings, friends. Welcome back. I just wanted to share. I was just thinking, so I'm in a process. I'm finishing school, and I'm in the last month. Today is November 1st, or no, October 1st. So I'm in the last month, and you might feel like you're in the last leg of a race, or you might not know when the race is over. We don't know. Scripture says dates and times and seasons is not for us to know, but God. And sometimes that thought can be discouraging, depending on what our focus is on God. If our heart is in a place of anguish, you start to grow bitter at God. Your heart might start getting frustrated with God. Lord, just bring rain, or bring food, or bring release from the season I'm walking through, and bring freedom, bring healing, Lord, bring your promises. And it can be hard. And other times, if you know the dates and times and that's all up to God. Seasons and times in your life. That's who God is. He's merciful. He provides. And he's a healer, and he's a deliverer, and he dwells outside of time. Right. That you can trust him. And when you hear things like he has the time, it can yeah, you can trust him. You have peace in that. Yeah. Scripture says, he that puts his faith in God will not grow weary, or something like that. I'm probably paraphrasing. There's a guy, I want to say, he's like a Marine, something Goggins. I can't remember his name. And he was telling a story about how every day they would wake up and have to go run while in the Marines, while doing, training. And so him and the group, a platoon leader or whatever, captain, sergeant, would wake them up or whatever, and they'd have to get ready to go run. And they knew the end point. They knew the beginning point, and they knew the end point. And they couldn't stop running until the sergeant, drill sergeant, whoever, stopped running. And he's on the road, and some people all of a sudden, whether it's cold, whether it's rainy, whether it's sunny, whether it's whatever, people start getting happy as they got closer and closer, because they knew the end point. And this hope factor that, it's going to be over quick. And he talks about how, some days and people are just gasping and breaking down, and they have this expectation of, I hope it's soon. I see the finish line, and they want to keep, they get this hope that, it's going to be a hope and expectation. And he said one day, the drill sergeant who's jogging in front of them, conditioned, the finish line comes, and he just kept running through it. And everyone just kind of broke down, because they knew they had to keep running. Because the hope of when it would be over, the expectation of when it will be over, just broke. It just broke. And sometimes we have hope in the expectations we put on Jesus. Sometimes we have hope in the expectations we put on God. And when he doesn't meet those expectations, we faint and we fail. But the process, the trial, the process, the run, the jog is to condition us and get us to a place where he wants us to be. He dwells outside of time. Now, I don't think God is cruel by any means, and I wouldn't even compare him to that drill sergeant on that day. I just wanted to use it to remind you, is there any expectations you have in God, a false hope that you're placing on him that could require you, that could cause you to be bitter and turn away from God? Is there anything in your heart that you think, what, if God doesn't do this? Somebody really close to me, they said this, and it kind of hurt me. Oh, I got to cut, friends. I want to leave you with this. I'm probably going to get beeped again. Joseph was about 17 when he got sold into slavery. And then he was thrown in prison and the whole nine. He was about 30 when he got called up to Pharaoh's courts. And then, after he got called to Pharaoh's courts, the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of good. And so Joseph's probably about 40. And scripture says that Joseph, after those years came and passed, he was about 40. Scripture says he died at 110 years old. And so when you look at the plenty in his life dwelling in Goshen, Joseph outlived the trials of his life, the rejection, even of his brothers. He outlived it. And scripture does mean God is truly promising when he says he will give you double for your trouble. He lived to see his youngest child's great grandchild. I just pray no expectations crush your hope. But I pray that God, who is exceedingly abundantly able to do all we ask or think, will bless your soul. He'll put it inside you. He'll reveal it. No eye has seen, nor ear has heard, nor has it entered into the heart of man what God has for those who love him. But he has revealed it through his Spirit. I love you, friends.